Okay, so today's session, again, we're looking at wheelchair play, and I'm using Andrew. All wheelchair play or all disability play are all very, very different. It's not the same as stand-up. So everybody's disability has a different effect on what the person can do and can't do, and I think it's really crucial as a coach to find out what it is the player can do, what they're comfortable with, etc. So one of the things, Andrew's got cerebral palsy, so it affects obviously the four limbs like he said in the last video, but in particular his wrist. And we have to find a way to counter the problems that he'll face when he plays. So one of the things that we found out with Andrew is that the ball on the hip is much more proactive if he does it with his backhand. So I'm just going to multi-ball him, and as you can see, multi-balling from a chair. I think this is really crucial if you're training people in a chair, to be in a chair, because that's the height the ball's going to come at. The kind of delivery is the same. If I was standing up, it would be a slightly different delivery. Okay, so there's the ball into the hip now, and you can see Andrew has his elbow very, very low underneath his wrist and hand, and he finds that much more easier to play than if he was to play. So because his wrist needs to come in through his condition, he finds this much easier off the hip. If you watch how maybe conventionally a person would try to play it off the forehand, so on that hip, a lot of people on the forehand would, you can see straight away Andrew wants to go, and he's all held in because there's nowhere for him to move on the chair, and it makes it difficult. So you can see he only has a push,
ball, like a blocky ball.
It's weaker. Where actually probably one of Andrew's strongest shots is off the hip. So if I go there, he can hit it quite flat and hard with his pimples. And again, it's just a matter of always trying to find what suits the disability the most. And you can see how much more effective that is, because the ball on the hip is a really difficult ball, whether you're stand up or whether you're in a chair. Wheelchair players have to be really, really good at getting angles. Is probably the biggest way to win a point is angles, playing off the angle. So a lot of people, stand-up people, when they play somebody in a chair, will play directly to them, but you shouldn't, because believe me, they know more than anything that angles is the main point-winning thing. The other thing would be to be good off the hip, which obviously Andrew there has found a way to become good off the hip. So just again, you can see, like I say, everybody's different, but for Andrew to have this bat high and his elbow directly below his hand, it enables him to punch through the ball really strongly. And that shot's quite flat and difficult to get back then. Good. Yeah. Anything to add to that, Andrew?
It's a lot of it is the decision making quick, so you'll find wheelchair players will serve it in the hip a lot. Like, it's such an effective place that gets hit quite a lot.
Yeah.
So most serves are in the hip, because even if you get it back, you're a lot of the time out of position, so you've got to try and be strong on this ball. That's why I favour the backhand a lot more.
Yeah. And it definitely suits you, doesn't it? Yeah. I know your forehand is strong, but only if it's out wide.
If it's out wide, my forehand's probably strong, but I'd say for the strongest point of my backhand, it's probably here now.
Here on the hip rather than
probably because it got, like, everyone utilises it that much, that it became strong.
Good. Yeah. What do you think in open play? Do you agree that it's all about angles?
It's all about, basically, it's who can get the angle the quickest. So you don't want to be giving balls this area of the table, because it's too easy to get off the angle.
Yeah.
So you've either got everything deep or really short.
Yeah.
You can't be going like middle of the table.
Right, because then they can just
it's
hit
just
the
too
handles.
easy.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Okay. So I'll show you. Andrew, just demonstrate your forehand from out on your forehand. Yeah. Good. Nice strong forehand from there. Yeah. But if I go there, it's got to be that, hasn't it, for you?
Yeah.
Good. Anything to add? No?
I think we've covered most of them.
Any questions? No? So, with disability, it's finding what works for you, and everybody is really individual when it comes to disability. But this ball on the hip, it's so good, so important to get good from that area, as Andrew said. And the way Andrew's found to do it is to drop his elbow directly below so he can punch through that ball a lot more. And like Andrew said, big tip is if you're playing against somebody in a wheelchair, do not put a ball in the middle because they'll hit the angles really, really well from that. You've got to get the ball very deep, mainly with the odd short ball.
Like when you play the higher classes, so like 3, so 1's the worst, like the most severe disability, and 5's the least. When you see a lot of 5s, I'd say 95% of the 5s are going to move over and play a forehand from this position because they've got their hip stability to go like there and then get back up, where obviously I couldn't do it as quick.
Right.
But you'll find it's a lot closer to the able-bodied game the higher you go up in the classes.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less the lower you go.
Just a question really on the bat. You mentioned there pimples. What is the best equipment for playing wheelchair? What works the best in Against the Games?
So a lot of the lower classes will have pimples on one side or anti-spin or something that's going to like
slow it down
a little bit and give a bit of difference. But you'll find like most 5s in the world are going to play 2-side smooth because they can move over and spin the ball from here. They can spin it from here, where obviously people have limitations whether it's in the wrist. So the lower classes you'll find they'll change the equipment, because that's why I've got pimples, because I can't really open my wrist up too quick to get a big attack. So the pimples allow me to punch the ball and make it a bit easier.
Right. Very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Are the classes related to the severity of disability?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk?
Yeah, so I'm not like 100% sure on how it all works, but I know mine, I've got quite good core strength, but obviously my hands let me down, so that makes me a 3. Where I know class 2s and 1s, they have no core strength. And they have to like tie the bat to the hand in some cases. Class 5 is like, sometimes they can even walk a little bit, but they have to use a chair most of the time. So they have a lot more movement than everybody.
Yeah. And then the classes actually go up to 10, kind of 11, isn't? Yeah. And then it comes stand up, how much ability they've got standing up, and then more ability, and once you get up to the 10, the people are, you know, as good as anybody in standing. They really are, you know. There's some fantastic players out there. Okay, see you on the next one.
Sorry.